In this video, we will look at the common methods for sampling fleet machinery, including engines, transmissions, and hydraulic systems. We will start with the traditional way to sample engines, using the oil dipstick method. If you're not sure what length of tubing to use, measure the length of the oil dipstick and add about an extra foot. Screw a clean sample bottle onto the pump head. Stick a sample number label onto the sample bottle before you take your sample. If you wait until after taking the sample, the label may not stick as firmly. For best results, take the sample within a few minutes of shutting the engine off so the oil is warm. Clean the top of the engine oil dipstick and remove it. Cut the end of the sample tubing on a 45-degree angle to ensure that the tubing does not come to rest against a flat surface and prevent suction. Make a bend in the tubing to mark the length of the dipstick so you know how far to insert the tubing. Insert the sample tubing to the mark and pull several times on the sample pump to create vacuum. Once you see the oil flowing in the tube, stop pumping. When the sample bottle is 2/3 to 3/4 full, release the top nut on the pump to break the vacuum and stop the oil flow. Unscrew the sample bottle from the pump and replace the sample cap immediately. Ensure that the sample cap is sufficiently tight and wipe off any excess oil or dirt from the sample bottle. Remove the sample tubing and dispose of it properly. Wipe off the oil dipstick and replace it. Ensure that you tighten the dipstick in place. You can sample the transmission oil using the same method. Be sure to use a clean piece of sample tubing, a new sample bottle, with the sample number label affixed. As before, kink the tubing at the length of the dipstick, ensure that the tubing is cut on an angle, and take your sample as you did before with the engine. If you are draining the oil from the component, then you can sample from the oil stream mid-drain. Have an uncapped sample bottle with the sample label affixed ready to go. Find the drain plug, loosen it, but leave it in place until you're ready. When you are ready, remove the drain plug and be ready with your sample bottle. Allow several gallons of oil to drain, and then dip your sample bottle into the oil flow. Keep enough oil sampled to fill the bottle about 3/4 of the way full. Immediately cap the sample bottle, ensure that the cap is tight, and wipe off the excess oil from the sample bottle. You can take transmission samples using the same method. This time we are not draining the oil. So again, loosen the drain plug, get your uncapped sample bottle ready, remove the drain plug, fill the bottle, and replace the drain plug as soon as possible. Again, cap immediately and clean off the excess oil from the sample bottle. The preferred method of sampling is using a sample port. The machine will need to be running to sample from the port to ensure that there is sufficient oil pressure. For a push-button style report, clean and remove the port cap. Remove the sample bottle cap, push the button, and allow the oil to fill the bottle to about 3/4 full. Release the port button, recap the sample bottle, and wipe off any excess oil from the bottle. Refasten and tighten the port cap. If there is no sample port available, you can sample the hydraulics using a sample pump and tubing. Clean the sample pump thoroughly. Affix the sample label to the sample bottle and screw onto the pump head. Insert the tubing into the pump head and tighten the aluminum nut. You will likely only require a few feet of tubing to sample the hydraulics. Remove the fill cap from the hydraulic tank. If the fill port has a basket filter, then remove it also. Insert the sample tubing about halfway into the hydraulic tank and pull several times on the sample pump to create a vacuum. Stop pumping when you see the oil flow. Fill the bottle about 3/4 full, then remove the tubing from the reservoir. Remove the sample bottle from the pump and replace the sample cap immediately. Clean off excess oil from the sample bottle. Replace the basket filter and replace and tighten the fill cap. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Happy sampling!